Hi, Mike.
Good morning, Fred. Good morning, Hardy. Hey, John. How we doing? How about that? Who saw that one coming?
Oh, yeah. Well, listen,
Yeah.
it's stranger things have happened, that's for sure. But what is interesting is for just a one game sample, you saw the number one pick in the draft against the number three pick in the draft. The number one pick in the draft was supposed to be in this. They were arguing, Mike, about like the best situation a high quarterback pick had ever been put into in terms of talent around them. And Drake May, of course, is in a bad situation because there's not a lot of talent around him. And for the day, Drake May looked like the better quarterback. Talk about Caleb Williams. I don't know how much of him you had seen in the pros before yesterday, but what are your takeaways with Caleb Williams, his skill set, and how he's playing now?
Fred, I really like him. And I think what we saw was an example of when the offensive line in front of the quarterback doesn't play well, it puts the quarterback in a tough spot and it creates uncertainty for the quarterback. And I mean, we've seen that a little bit in New England. So to me, this was an example of the shoe being on the other foot and the Patriots being able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think for Caleb Williams and the way he played yesterday, I want to hang a lot of it on his offensive line. But watching the Patriots defense and some of the issues that they gave to him, the credit's got to be given there too, because I mean the 9 sacks alone is eye popping, but they were all over him from the jump, and they didn't let up all day.
That's right, Hardy. And I think you definitely don't. You have to give credit to the Patriots. And I'm actually going through the game now. And one of the plays I just finished on before coming on with you guys was at the start of the second quarter. And it's third down where the Patriots defense was excellent in this game. I think the numbers they held them, I want to say they held the Bears 1 of 14 on third down. And it's 3rd and 3, Hardy. It's a quick swing pass out to the right to DJ Moore. And Keenan Allen is a lead blocker, if you will, against Jalen Hawkins. And if I were to say to you guys, who do you like in this matchup? Keenan Allen against Jalen Hawkins. You'd probably pick Keenan Allen, right? That's a really good player. Jalen Hawkins just wills himself past him, makes the tackle for the stop. So I think it's a good example of, like Fred, you made the point, like the Bears have good talent. They do. But this was on the Patriots matched it. And I think chemistry is also a big part of it too. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, these are good receivers. But are they helping uplift the young quarterback, or are they placing more pressure on the young quarterback? Because when they don't get the ball, how are they responding to that? So I think talent, chemistry, fit, all that stuff is part of this discussion.
What did the Patriots do differently on defense yesterday that they hadn't tried before? Obviously, Brendan Schooler is one thing. You never saw him on the field, and he was an impact player yesterday. But the sack, I think was it Hawkins who got the sack of Williams near the goal line at the end? I forget which one. No, I think it was him. But either way, I just think that Covington changed things up a little bit.
Well, he did, John. And I think so 9 sacks. And the first thought that you have on the sacks is, well, they were really like ferocious on the pass rush. To me, the first 2 sacks were actually because of the coverage, where Caleb Williams gets to the top of his drop and he still has time to throw, and everyone's covered. Demarcus Covington, more big players up front, stopped the run, which they did much better, got him into obvious passing situations, and then they were able to bring some pressure.
Okay, so, DJ Moore is a good receiver. Odunze was a really high draft pick. Allen, has had a successful career. What are you seeing? Why is it just the offensive line and there's no time to throw? I mean, what did you see out of these receivers that Chicago has? And how good was the Patriots secondary?
I think I give the secondary a lot of credit. I thought Gonzalez really good, Marcus Jones really good. I thought the move of Jonathan Jones to safety was a good wrinkle. It ended up reducing the snaps for Marte Mapu. So I actually lean probably more towards the Patriots Fred on that than the Bears. I thought they just locked him up pretty good.
All right, Drake May, he was inconsistent. He could have thrown 3 picks in that game. He did throw one really bad one, but they win the game and he played well. Do you see a progression with him as time goes on. What are you seeing is how he's evolving as a quarterback, as a starter?
I thought the biggest thing, Fred, in this game was the response to adversity, because the interception was a bad pick. I talked about that he wanted to throw it away, and he just didn't throw it far enough away. To respond to that 2 drives later with his best drive, the touchdown drive, I thought was significant, shows mental toughness. And the biggest thing to me, guys, offensively in this game was they got the running game going. Their first 4 runs, 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards. And so when you get that going, it sets up play action and it makes everything easier. Like, I thought Alex Van Pelt looked like a capable, quality offensive coordinator in the game. And part of the reason why is that it's easier to call plays when you can lean on the running game.
Yeah, and it looks like Mayo wasn't the worst coach on the field yesterday.
Well, that was going to be my next point. I mean, that there were some decisions that he made, and whether it was the improved defense or whether it was just the play calling, as much as he has to do with that offensively, but the overall coaching job yesterday, what grade do you give it, Mike?
Well, Hardy, I'm glad you mentioned it, because really one of my biggest takeaways is just whatever grade you give the decisions, the guys are playing hard for them.
Yeah.
And I don't, to me, these are similar situations. Fred mentioned Caleb, the number 1 pick. The Bears needed this game. They hadn't lost at home for 8 or 9 games going back to last year. This was a get right game for them. And compare and contrast the way their players showed up for their coach compared to how the Patriots showed up for their coach. And I think in the big picture, those are the things that I'm just keeping an eye on. Like, how are the players responding to Gerard Mayo, who has said what he's hoping for is to be a team that no one wants to play by the end of the season. And I think everyone's realistic with the Patriots on they need more talent, but the talent they have is playing hard and the idea of trying to get the most out of what they have.
All right. Well, I've been hearing people bitch about the draft class that the Patriots have had. And to me, I don't know why you would be bitching this season, in that it looks like Mayo certainly is a capable head coach. I don't know if he'll ever be like a great head coach, but he's not a disaster.
He had the advantage yesterday, that's for sure.
Well, as we just discussed. And Drake May, certainly, if you hit that pick, then I would rather have that pick than miss that pick and get every other pick. But what is as we're a little halfway through the season, what is your read on the rookie class? I can't fault guys for being hurt. What's your read on the 2024 draft class?
Yeah, so off the top, they got the quarterback right, which I know some people say, well, that's easy, and anyone would have.
No. That's not easy at all.
Right, Fred?
No, that's terribly difficult.
Well, and I agree with you, because I think in retrospect, people say, well, obviously you take May at 3. But I don't think that. I think that's revisionist history.
Oh, screw that! You know how many people probably emailed or texted or reached out to you on social media and called us and said, "You take Marvin Harrison.
Oh God,
you got to build a team around it."
Yeah.
I mean, ludicrous stuff.
It's fine. You can wait for the quarterback. You got to get the offensive weapon.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Why not wait until next year?
Yeah, I would bet you it was a good 60% were against taking May in that draft.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So on the draft class, so they get the quarterback right, and I think that's the key piece. Once you have that right, everything else has a chance. I think right now you would have loved to have seen a little bit more from the rest of the class, but it's obvious, So if we judge it now, you're probably going to grade it lower. But I can tell you, they still feel like Polk is going to be a player. Baker is going to be a player. It's just receiver's a tough position to come in their view, and, hit the ground running. I think they feel like the offensive linemen have a chance, Caden Wallace, Layden Robinson. So to me, if we're judging it now, I think the grade would probably be lower in totality, but I think let's see what it evolves to be, because I don't think you can write the story on it just yet.
One quick thing about playing the young kids. Kendrick Bourne didn't play yesterday, and he was told the day before it was probably going to happen that way. Is that what's going to happen the rest of the season? I mean, are they really going to give the kids 40, 50 snaps a game in that wide receiver room?
So John, that's an interesting one, because, Bourne didn't play. KJ Osborne did. And I think it was like 28 snaps or in that range. So I still think they're going to mix in guys like Bourne and Osborne, but ultimately, like, they're going to want to see more Jalen Polk. And I think Javon Baker, who only played 4 snaps, I think we're going to see him get in there too. They have 7 receivers. Basically, 4 or 5 are going to play in a game. And I think we'll probably see Bourne and Osborne sort of maybe go back and forth a little bit here as the young guys get more snaps.
And how is this going compared to how you thought it was going? We'll finish up with that. Like, where they stand right now, is this? How does this compare to your preseason expectations?
Fred, what I would say is the pivot point for me was London, when Gerard Mayo came out and said that they were playing soft, that they couldn't stop the run, couldn't run the ball. Like, I wanted to see how they responded, because when you have a moment like that, that can go in a couple different directions. And I think since that point, they've played 12 quarters. I think they are what they are. No one's saying they're playoffs or anything like that. They're closer to the top pick than the postseason, but they're playing hard for Mayo, and I think it's going from that point maybe better than I would have anticipated, and I think that's a positive sign for the team and the franchise.
All right, well, there you go, Mike Reiss. Excellent job as always. We look forward to talking to you very soon, and thank you so much. Read them and watch them on ESPN. Thanks, man.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.